think we go. There we go. You are live. Bam. Hey, everybody. How are you? Welcome to another spine-chilling, thrilling, God only knows what it is, a trucker's view. Welcome. We got Larry here. Johnny will be joining us soon here. He's getting his Wi-Fi logged in there. And, So on tonight's episode, I'm going to be talking about the lies that recruiters tell you to get you in there. So they're lying to you without lying to you, and we'll talk about that. And then, Larry, what are you going to be talking about tonight?
Hours of service. But aren't we all going to just be talking about it?
Yeah, you're going to, be talking about it, and give some insight on how you think it is, and then we'll all discuss it there, and then we'll have Johnny bringing up the rear there with his trip planning, we'll be doing that. So I guess without further ado, I guess we ought to start the show. I'm thinking about having
everybody. Hey, everybody.
I'm thinking about having the Benny Hill music as our intro song. No.
That's the one.
Yeah.
Gonna have women chasing us around.
Yeah. There you go. Well, everybody, again, welcome to A Trucker's View. And I'm Pat, and there's Larry, and just wanted to touch on a couple subjects, and it's aggravating to me because, I was a recruiter for a couple months with a company out of Joplin, Missouri, and I had a little bit experience with recruiting, as in I'd been to a lot of the companies, so I heard all the stories from the recruiters. Some of the biggest lies they'll sit there and tell you, especially at this company, oh yeah, you're going to make $1,700 a week, and that'll be take home. Well, what they don't tell you is that's once you get your top security clearance, and the majority of the time that top security clearance doesn't come for a year. So you're going to be struggling making $800-900. Going, well, where's this $1,700-1,800 from? Also a lot of times with recruiters, so technically they weren't lying to you, because a lot of companies don't want the recruiters to lie to you. Another big one, especially at some companies, is, oh, come on in, we got brand new trucks, we're going to get you a brand new truck, and you're going to go make money, But what they don't tell you is when you get there, you'll get a brand new truck after you've been there for 90 days. So they already suckered you in at that point. And, and so those are some of the tricks that they do. Also, being a recruiter, I went through a little, I guess, an info where, they would tell you, you need to kind of stretch the truth, but don't lie to them, and I couldn't lie to drivers because I knew how it affected people, because a lot of drivers live paycheck to paycheck, especially when they're going to another company. Like the company I'm at, they didn't tell us that we'd go 2 weeks without a paycheck. The first 2 weeks is no paycheck. And, luckily we had a little bit left over, saved up to where we could, have a little cushion. But there's a lot of guys that go from company to company because the average driver knows within the first 30 days whether they're going to be there for 90 days. Also, the average driver knows by the end of orientation if they're going to be there 30 days and start looking. And too many times, and this comes from the OOIDA, it's not that we have a driver shortage going on right now. See, a lot of times they'll sit there and they'll tell you, and you'll hear on the news, we got a driver shortage. We got a driver shortage. We do not have a driver shortage in this country. we have a turnover problem in this country because too many companies sit there and they want to lie to the drivers. They want to mistreat them, stuff like that. Per se, my company, Driver Appreciation Week's coming up next week. And thank you to all the other drivers out there who sacrifice for us every day. And who sacrifice for us every day. And, we know what it's like because we're drivers ourselves. So, it's kind of hard to explain. So it's more of a turnover problem than it is a driver shortage problem. Drivers are told one thing when they get there; it's something totally different. Come in for a day or two, for orientation. When they get there, it winds up being 3 or 4 days, or they have the crappiest equipment that they can give drivers. And they got some of the crappiest equipment out there. They want to put the drivers in it and then expect the drivers to stay, which is, that's not, you can't do that. And what it is a disconnect between the driver and management, and that's my company. They offered cash advance. Yeah. And yes, there's a cash advance, but the problem with cash advance too, that's coming out of your paycheck, and companies need to start getting with the times, because a lot of times, even Larry would be able to tell, the pay scale is slowly starting to go up from what it used to be. It used to be when I first started, it was like 26 cents a mile. Well, we thought that was good. Now it's slowly starting to get up. Most companies now are getting to 50 cents a mile, 60 cents a mile, stuff like that. And they're starting to get up there, but they still don't appreciate drivers. They want to give drivers 1 day off rather than, give them 2 days off. Well, you get 1 day for every 7 out. Well, you're out a month. You only get 4 days home. Well, that's not time to do anything because you're unwinding. Mikey Dortch. There, Larry. Well, Larry, I did it. I graduated from Trucking Academy, got my state exam tomorrow morning. So, Mikey Dortch? You good there, Larry? Well, let's see. Ange, we got audio, don't we?
Yes, sir.
I think I lost my headset. I'm going to have to go out and come back in.
Okay. So, look, it's just me again. That's okay. I have no problems with that. Hopefully, Johnny will be joining us here pretty soon. But, yeah, we touched on that a little bit, and there's a lot of lies. And then, unfortunately, these drivers, they get to these companies, they find out that they're not what they told them when they get to orientation and stuff like that. So then they wind up jumping. There are so many companies out there that have 100% turnover rate. And a lot of it has to do with that they just lie to drivers. They won't, for one reason or another, want to be honest. And a lot of it are these big companies out there. And I've always said, the bigger and the shinier the building, the terminal is, the more they're trying to distract you and hide all their crap. Yeah, well, let's see what's going on over here. Well, let's see. Let's go to, if I can find the comments over here. All right, Angie, where do we find these comments at? Oh, is that Larry? Let's see. Let's get Larry over there. Let's see. All right, you back with us, Larry?
I'm here. I hear you.
All right, there you go. All right. What have recruiters done to lie to you to get you into the company, and then when you get there, you find out that no, that's not what you told me.
Oh, well, the biggest one was when I first got a hold of Swift, and they're like, "Oh, we got a job opening for you." This was like Wednesday. Like, we got a job opening. You can start Monday. I'm like, "Oh, great, awesome," because you only be away from the house for 3 weeks, and then you get to go back home. I'm like, cool, I could do that. And so that was Wednesday. So it was just me and my daughter. They gave me a Greyhound on Thursday to get to Arizona from California on Friday. So this was Wednesday. So I packed up my stuff, 3 weeks worth of clothes, 3 weeks worth of my medicine, gave my daughter a hug, kissed her goodbye, and I was off. 3 weeks of school. I'm like, all right, cool. I can go home now. No, you got another 6 weeks on the truck with the trainer. Like, I don't have my medicine. I don't have clothes.
Yep.
I got to see my daughter. They're like, nope, sorry, you can't do that. So I didn't see my daughter for 9 freaking weeks. And I was without medicine for 6 weeks. I started getting so sick. And then finally we had to shut down so I could get to pharmacy so I could get some extra medicine. And then I was good to go. But yeah, that was the biggest lie right there.
Yeah, and that's a shame that, they can't be honest with these prospective drivers and just go with what they want, what they're really all about. They have to lie to us to get us in there.
And to find out that Swift every week is a new class. I did not have to leave the very next freaking day. I could have waited. Every week was a new freaking class. They're like, oh, yeah, you got to leave tomorrow. Like, no, I did not.
And a lot of it is because these recruiters, they get bonuses on top of what they get paid hourly or salary for every driver they bring in. Like where I worked, you got paid to bring one in, but it wasn't very much. But then if they stayed 30 days, you got a bonus. If they stayed 60 days, you got a bonus. If they stayed 90 days, you got a bonus. And
my recruiter got a big bonus because I was there for 10 years.
At Swift.
At Swift for 10 years.
Wow. Well, and Sally Hansen says company that they're with has never lied to them. And it's usually that's a rarity to find to get you in. My company said, "Oh yeah, you'll get a W900 when you get here." Okay, I get there. No, got some used crappy Freightliner, and I was like, "Oh, this is garbage." If I would have known this, I wouldn't even have bothered. And it took a lot of schmoozing on my part to finally. It took about a year. It took about a year for me to finally get a W900. And, well, of course, I regretted it because the fuel mileage sucked so bad,
I started with an old Columbia.
Wow. Old Columbia, yep. I mean, I've driven them all. The cab overs to long nose Pete's to the W900s to, the Columbias, all those stuff. Yeah. It's kind of crazy. Hey, Kathy, how you doing? So yeah, it's been something, and I wish that it would change to where recruiters can't lie to you, to get you in there, and that they tell you the truth.
So they told the truth, there would be no truckers.
Yeah, exactly. Like I've said it before, if they would have told me in truck driving school what sacrifices really were going to be needed to be made and stuff like that, I wouldn't have actually in there. Oh, I think we got old Johnny here. Let's see if we can get him on in there. John E., are we there? Let's see. Do we got old Johnny? Come on. Nope, Johnny's not quite there yet. All right. So, you know.
My first experience with a recruiter was I was 18 and I walked into the Air Force recruiting agent, and right next door was the Army. So I walked in, I made a left into the Air Force, and there was nobody at the desk, and I hear behind me, hey, come here. I walked over, and the guy's like, here, have a seat. 10 minutes later, I signed up for the Army.
Oh, geez. But see, now, if I'm not wrong, the recruiters of the military, they actually have to put it in writing because they're not actually allowed to lie to you because they can actually get in trouble for that, can't they?
Oh, I don't know. I was never a recruiter. He didn't really lie to me, but he definitely recruited me.
Mike says, good afternoon.
He was probably an ex-car salesman. Because he wrote me in pretty good.
Gotcha.
And then I went home. I was living with my mom. I went home and, hey, Mom, guess what I just did? She wasn't too happy.
Oh, heck, yeah. Yeah, I was, when I tried to go in, I had a wife and 2 kids at that time, and they were like, can you get your wife to sign a release to let you go in, I said, can I just forge a signature? Please let me in. Please let me in. Get me out of here.
I was single, young, dumb, and full of energy.
Exactly. Oh, heck. So, yeah, it was crazy. So, but, yeah, let's see. Army best decision my son made. He's sergeant now. Well, thank him for his service from us. And,
Yes.
Thank you for your service. Cause I mean, the family members at home are served just as much, it's just as important,
They sacrificed a lot.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, let's see here. I'm going to try this. We're going to go out of my segment and into Larry's segment here in a minute. So let's go ahead and try this, see if this works.
Visit Trekker Safety Divas. Find us on Facebook. We're an all-women's live trekking show hosted every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Central. Hosted by your host, Angela Baum, who is a FedEx truck driver and creator of Trekker Safety Divas, Angela Clark, a flatbed truck driver from Miami, Florida, and our third host, Brooklyn Rogers, a truck driver out of Texas. Join us every Saturday night, 7 p.m. for Trekker Safety info and all kinds of information.
All right. That commercial break brought to you by the Safety Divas. Tomorrow night. Make sure to check them out. Heck. Well, heck, that was our first commercial of our new show thing here.
She said, we'll be right back after this commercial break.
So, well, Larry, I guess you're going to be touching on hours of service.
Yep, that was our plan. Hours of service.
Let's turn it over to you and have at it there, Larry.
Okay. 2 hours of service would be what? Why are you giving me that look? Yeah, I got a bad look. I must have did something.
Bear with me, right? You just woke up.
I just woke up. I had you woke me up like 5 minutes before the show. Hey, come on, get on the show. All right, I'm here. So I'm drinking my energy drink. Hold on a second.
Well, Mikey, I'm going to tell you, when it comes to picking a company, do your homework. Find drivers of that company out there at the truck stops. Go talk to them. Read up on them. Go to Google. Look at the reviews. Go to even OOIDA's website. They usually have reviews on companies. Go ahead but do your research. So when you get there, you can't say, wow, well, this company's garbage. Well, I mean, if you would have done your homework, you would have seen it. So, yeah.
Do you see comments on your end? I don't see any comments.
I see one every now and then. It'll pop up, but I don't see comments.
I got to figure out something else because I need to.
Oh, wait a minute.
Correct.
Oh, there. I got comments now. I got the comments up. All right, here we go. Holy shit. Sorry, everybody. Sheila Long says, Larry, don't piss off Angie.
That's easy to do. I'm such a nutcase. I'm surprised she's still with me.
Ray Crawford here says, I drove for Schneider for 9 months and quit. They are more for the load than they are for the drivers. Yeah, you know, and unfortunately, that happens in those big companies, you know. And yeah. Let's see. Mike Robbins over here says, Larry is calm tonight. He is getting tired of that couch.
Yeah. I think I slept on the couch 3 nights since we were home 3 nights. I ended up being on the couch all 3 nights. I was in the doghouse. That was bad. I had to do a lot of apologizing, making a lot of breakfast.
Right. Well, and this person says,
it was fun, though. It was worth it. It was so much fun.
This person says, my aunt has said that Walmart treats their truckers pretty good. And I'll tell you a little bit about that, why they do that. And they do. They pay them really well. Now, I've heard mixed. Yeah, I've heard mixed stories about Walmart. Some drivers like them, some drivers don't. But I think the biggest thing is they're trying to keep the drivers from unionizing. So the better that they treat them, the more they can try to keep that out of there. So, yeah. So, yeah, everybody that showed up tonight, thank you for stopping by. We appreciate it. Make sure to like, follow, and share. You know, check out the other streams. So you want to hours of service, Larry? What's going on there?
Okay, yeah, hours of service. If anybody doesn't know about it, it's like we have a certain amount of time we need to drive. We log on. We wake up in the morning and we log on. Our 14 hours starts from that time you log on, no matter what you do the rest of the day. And you can drive 11 hours, but before your first hour is up, you need to take a 30-minute break, which is mandatory, which is pretty stupid. Almost everybody takes a break within 8 hours. And then once you're down, then you get down for 10 hours before you can actually drive again. Which you got that.
Well, you know, from back when I started driving, you know, things have changed so much because you would run, you know, 1 or 2 or 3 logbooks, you know, just so that you could keep going. Because if I remember correctly, to get a restart in your hours, you actually had to have 72 hours off, you know, completely before you could reset your hours. And that was just like, oh, wow, how do you do that? You know, and I can be honest with you, I got so lucky I never got really inspected with my logbooks because, holy God, they were so bad. They were like the worst in the world.
I never heard of 72 hours off.
Yeah. I think it was, yeah, you had to have 7 consecutive days off or something like that before you could I think that's how it was, or maybe I had it wrong back then. I don't know, but it was pretty bad. And so, yeah.
I started with 70 hours in 1 week. Once you reach your 70, then you run out of hours, and then you got to take a 34-hour restart. That's what it's always been.
Well, yeah, and when I started back in '98, it wasn't that way. It wasn't a 34-hour restart. You had to be off, and I can't remember exactly how many hours you had to be off, but now it's a 34-hour restart. And back then, you know, if you weren't running on recaps, you had to sit, and it was not.
That mandatory half-hour break is pretty new, also.
Yeah, the half-hour break is new, but the half-hour break, I think, honestly, is pointless. It really is. It makes no sense.
No.
You know,
I was pretty much taking a half-hour break even before it was a mandatory half-hour break.
Right.
I would stop before 8 hours is up.
Well, who wouldn't? I mean,
5 hours.
you got to go to the bathroom, you got to get something to eat, you got to get fuel, something, but then they added that in there and it's like, okay, well, this makes no sense. You just want to keep adding stuff into our thing. And so, yeah, it was just it's kind of crazy the way it's gotten now. But I do like the fact now that you can fuel, you can do pretty much anything on duty. And
That's brand new. That just started.
Yeah, it's brand new. Yeah, you can even fuel on duty during your 30-minute break, and it counts towards your 30-minute break, which before it didn't. And
I didn't know about it. I stopped one time, and I didn't log off. Or I didn't go off duty. I stayed on duty, and because we have a computer on board, and I stayed on duty for the 30 minutes, and it reset my hours back to over 8 hours again.
Yeah,
Wow,
and I had to get used to that too because I was actually off. I was a recruiter back when that started, and I didn't get the experience until I came back out on the road, and I was like, "Holy crap! Well, what is this?" And it was kind of weird to me. But yeah, but the problem is,
a recruiter when that half hour on duty counted as your break.
No, I was a recruiter when that started.
Oh, no, I'm talking about the half hour on duty that just started. I don't know when it started, maybe a month ago.
Oh, no, that's been out for a while.
Oh, because it just started on our Qualcomm.
It's been out for, God, 2 years at least, 2.5. So yeah.
Until maybe a month ago, I just stayed on duty. Normally I go off duty.
Yeah, I know. You can be off duty or on duty during your 30-minute, and you can do whatever the hell you want, but just not be driving, and it goes towards your 30-minute. I guess they also changed something with the split sleeper, and I don't do that split sleeper thing because it's just such a pain in the ass, and it's really hard to figure out.
Never even understood that split where you go 5 hours.
Well, you can do
down 5.
Yeah, it's like 7 and 3 or 8 and 2, and you can do the first 3 hours.
Never understood.
No, I never did either. Let's see. Let's look at this one right here, right quick.
Well, my mentor, we pretty much had the routine where we just never went over 10 hours, so we never did a restart. We drove every single day, and we never took a 34-hour restart because we never went over 10 hours a day. So if you never go over 10 hours a day, you never reach your 70, so you never have to take a restart.
Right. Yeah. You just keep going and keep going and keep going. Yeah. Robert Wolkowitz says, I don't understand as a mechanic, the drivers today know nothing about the truck and trailer and know nothing about manual transmission, plus don't know how to fix even the littlest things on a truck or trailer. You know what, Robert? You're right. But a lot of that goes to the companies because they don't want the drivers touching them, because that's a liability now. Back when I started,
you could ruin the warranty.
Well, yeah, not only that, but too, liability issues. Back when I was driving, when I first started driving, they wanted you to get out there and, turn a wrench or, change out a belt or an alternator or something like that if it broke down. But now they don't want you touching that stuff because now it's a liability. I can't tell you how many times I've busted my knuckles on it, with a socket. You said, oh, I can't get in there. Oh, that hurt, and son of a. So, yeah.
I was a mechanic. I was a diesel mechanic when I was in the Army. So I know quite a bit, but not with the boss we have now, but we were still with FedEx Ground. And those guys, there was something wrong with the truck. And I told him, I said, I can fix it. He told me, absolutely do not touch it. We got to take it to the shop because if I did something wrong, I could ruin the warranty. So that was with my experience where they did not want me touching it. Same thing with Swift. They did not want me fixing anything. They wanted to
No, and they don't. Yeah, because liability issues and everybody's sue happy, and they'll sue anybody for a stub toe
They
or.
weren't worried about that. They were worried about ruining the warranty. They were more concerned with the warranty than my injuries. But I think the warranty was the biggest issue that I had.
Right. Let's look at some comments here.
I can't see them.
Let's see. There's this one lady named Angela Baum. Let's see.
Who's
Let's see what she has to say. Exactly. The company would rather hire a repair company than have you repair it, sadly.
Wait, what was that? Laughing. Say it again.
Exactly. The companies would rather hire a repair company than have you repair it. Yeah, and the thing about it is I kind of look, and I know it's just me driving for as long as I have, and me getting to the point to where I'm like, listen, you hire me to drive the truck, you don't hire me to fix the truck, And so yeah.
We older.
So yeah. So
There's Johnny.
yeah, I don't know where Mr. John E is. Don't know where he's at today. So it looks like it's just the Pat and Larry show.
Nice.
Yeah, Pat and Larry. Yeah, I don't know where he's at. So yeah. Truck and Light.
LP, aren't we?
Hi, boys. I don't know who that is. Might be Larry. I don't know. Or Johnny, I mean. Let's see. Yeah, Mike Robbins. That's another thing too. You get too many drivers under there that'll go get in there and start tinkering with stuff that they don't know what they're doing. Like you said, worrying about the warranty. And Mike Robbins says, I've seen truckers turn a small repair into something major. So yeah, so that's that's the big thing there. He's having connections with the Wi-Fi. Those damn Petros. Let me go back up. If the company is leasing a truck, they don't want the driver to touch it. I understand due to warranty. Yeah, okay, let's see. I always have electronic logs with paper logs. How do you figure out? Okay, Dave Newland said, I always had electronic logs. With paper logs, how do you figure to go on duty? Well, with paper logs, they have that line. I mean, I can say for when I was
line 3, line 4.
Yep, line 3 and line 4. Now, when electronic logs first came out, I was working at Werner. They were just experimental. They were just trying to feel them out. It was on a Qualcomm, and it was 3 lines. You had off duty, you had off duty, on duty, and driving, and that's all you had. Okay.
Do you have sleeper berth?
No, off duty, on duty, and driving. I think it was, it was off duty, sleeper berth, and driving. That's what it was because they didn't have the on duty status yet. I want to say that's what it was. Maybe there was an on duty. I can't remember. It's been so damn long ago. It was 2000. So
when Swift got their Qualcomm, it was the same. We had 4 lines.
Yeah,
it looked just like the paper log.
Yeah, it was the gray thing with the blue buttons, and you would just, that's the one I had. I wish I could pull up old Qualcomms. Well, it was a 3-line Qualcomm. And then when the 10-line Qualcomm came out to where it was like a full size, keyboard, and you had, you could get all the information without having to scroll down all the time, and yeah.
I started with the keyboard. It was the Qualcomm was on the dash, and the keyboard fit inside a little holder, so we had to pull out the keyboard and do everything on the keyboard.
Wow, that's a different one. Okay. Yeah, I knew of a company that had one where they had a cell phone, and each number represented like you arrived, you departed, stuff like that for messages and stuff like that. But when I was working at Werner, they wanted
macro 1, macro 2, macro 3.
Yep. Werner wanted me to try it out because there was a handful of drivers, and then they wanted us to, come in and, because they were doing it for the government, because the government was trying to look into electronic logs. And, so, I went in there and I said, honestly, it's going to hurt the industry. It's going to hurt the driver.
Maybe.
Oh, they look like, what are they?
Strawberries. She's beating me.
Oh, strawberries. There you go. Yeah. And I told him, I said, it's going to hurt the industry. It's going to hurt drivers. It's going to hurt companies. And, you're going to have drivers that are going to be, running the clock, trying to race the clock. And that's the problem too. Too many drivers are sitting there trying to race the clock. And that's when they screw up, because they're more worried about, that clock and getting to where they're going and stuff like that.
That's when you get in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
There was quite a few times where I was racing the clock in. Yeah, I could have got myself into big time trouble. And then you get there and you're over 3 minutes. Then you got to call in and go, oh man, I drove after my 10 hours or my 11 hours or over my 8 hours. Can you fix this for me?
Right. It was.
We could change everything but the drive line. We can go in there and edit everything except edit the drive line.
Well, and that's what they told us too. They said, starting in December of last year that, they no longer can change anything. And it's like, but yet companies still do it. They still change driving status when they're not supposed to be doing it. I don't understand that.
Yeah, they won't change our driving status. I just got to call them and tell them, hey, I drove over this and this is reasonable.
Right.
So they have it in their records. But yeah, they won't change our drive status anymore. They used to be.
Let me see if I screw this up. Let me see. I'm going to try this real quick.
But our Qualcomm, I could change everything, like on duty, off duty, birth. I can change all that.
Right.
Just can't change drive line.
Right. Let's see here.
Strawberry so much better with sugar.
Yeah. Well, yeah, but the thing about it is you got to let them sit overnight so that they, starts pulling all that, makes it juicy and nice.
No, I'm eating it now.
Let's see
Yeah,
here.
do it now.
Let's go to comments. Let's see what's going on in the comments. See what they're saying about us.
Let me know, man. Let me know. What are they saying?
You should have a paper log sheet in case your ELDs go right.
We got one. For
Oh,
emergency.
there he is. Hold on. The man, the myth, the legend himself, Mr. John E.
Hey, that's me. Not a lot. What are you doing, guys?
Here he is.
Congratulations.
Yeah, we're glad you could join us.
Yeah, I'm glad I could be here.
Yeah.
So I had everything with you today.
Thank you, Larry. Yeah, it was pretty rough day today. Trying to get everything accomplished. I'm doing all right. I still got, to get everything put together on my trailer so I can, take off tomorrow, but I'm hanging in there. It's just been a long day.
Right. Well, I'm glad you could join us.
Thank you. So what have we got accomplished tonight, folks?
Well, we got my subject in there. We got Larry. He's eating strawberries. And we can get ready here in a minute to segue into yours. But hold on one second here. Let's see what's going on. I got to wait. It's totally ridiculous. I got to wait 1 minute here. I heard you were having trouble getting in that Wi-Fi, huh?
Yeah.
Were you out in the truck or were you trying to get in the inside Wi-Fi?
Both, inside and outside.
Yes.
Yeah, it's just, you know what I'm actually on? I'm just on my phone playing 5G. That's it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Did you have 5G when you were at the airport?
No.
Oh, really?
No,
All right.
it's kind of hard to get anything at the airport. Hold on, I gotta take a drink, guys.
All right. Well, while you're taking a drink, we are going to go to this commercial break and be right back with John E. Hold on.
Visit Trekker Safety Divas. Find us on Facebook. We're an all-women's live trekking show hosted every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Central. Hosted by your host, Angela Baum, who is a FedEx truck driver and creator of Trekker Safety Divas, Angela Clark, a flatbed truck driver from Miami, Florida, and our third host, Brooklyn Rogers, a truck driver out of Texas. Join us every Saturday night, 7 p.m. for trucker safety info and all kinds of information.
Well, that commercial break was brought to you by the Safety Divas. Make sure to check them out tomorrow night. So,
Yes.
So, all right, there, Johnny. We're gonna let you have at it.
Well, I think tonight's topic, folks, we're going to touch on trip planning. And what I mean by trip planning is each time you get your dispatch, you get the address of where you're going to pick up and then where you got to go deliver. Well, in between, you got a lot of miles to cover. So trip planning, what you do is you grab your map or you look at your GPS and you figure out, okay, this is the route that I'm going to take. You look at your route that you're taking and you plan your route out by planning out where you're going to stop at for your 30-minute break, or where you're going to grab some lunch at, where you're going to get fuel at, where you're going to stop for that night. And the reason why it's important to plan your trip is so that you can maximize your hours, maximize your clock to your advantage. So say you've got, say you're running from LA to Florida. Okay, well, you got like 3,000 miles to run there. Okay, so in that 3,000 miles, when you first start your trip, you get loaded. You look, okay, I'm starting my trip right here. Where do you plan on stopping to fuel? That's the first part of planning it. Okay, I'm going to fuel, 500 miles down the road. I've got enough fuel to get that far. Okay. So you plan for 500 miles. Well, in that 500 miles, you could do a 30-minute break. So, okay, let's throw in that 30-minute break in that 500-mile period. There's my 8 hours right there. So I've got a 30-minute break and fuel. So I've covered 2 things on planning my trip. Well, the next stage of your trip, you got 3 hours left to drive. So now you've planned out, okay, where am I going to sleep tonight? Okay, well, I can make it to here in 3 hours. So this is where I'm going to go to bed at tonight. So now you've maximized your time on your ELD and your hours to work them to your advantage, because you have your starting point, your middle point, and your ending point. So you know where you've got to get to make it all roll into one, to make it all play out. And by doing that, you're less fatigued. You don't have to drive as hard. And you have more quality time to actually sit in the sleeper or do what you need to do to just kind of unwind for the day. A lot of people just go by the seat of their pants, and it's hard because you just run. You never know where you're going to stop. You don't know what you're going to do. You don't know where you're going to be. Trip planning is always one of the best things to do, for the simple fact is you utilize and you maximize your time, especially with the ELDs nowadays. We have to take a 30-minute break. When you start your clock, it keeps going. You can't stop it. So you run out of time or run out of your 14 hours before you actually get done with your 14 hours or your 10 hours. So if you maximize your time by trip planning, then you can maximize your 10 hours that you get to drive, and you maximize it to benefit you. So you're not as tired and fatigued.
Right.
Very smart. Yeah.
Yeah. Because with trip planning, I think it helps take some of the stress out of truck driving. because you know where you're going to be, you know how long it should take you, you know what you're going to do when you get there. And then even with like reserved parking like they have now, if you know you're going to stop at a certain truck stop at a certain time, you can reserve a spot for that
Right.
spot, and you got a place to park.
Because you've already planned ahead and you know that you're going to make it there, and you've gave yourself enough time, because you never know. I mean, you might run into an accident, you might run into, inclement weather, but if you plan ahead and plan for that, you're prepared for those kind of things to come up because you've
That's something
planned
that
ahead.
Yeah, that's just something we don't do much. We should really do more of that. Because there's plenty of times when we stopped at a truck stop and it was full and there was absolutely no parking. And I'm like, hey, there's a reserved spot. And you go reserve that spot. Nope, they're full. They're already reserved hours prior.
Mhm.
So if we would planned ahead, we would have been able to know where we're going to stop and we would know where to get a reserved spot. So that's
Right, exactly.
very important.
Yeah, trip planning is a very important, like you said, Larry, very important. You can actually make up time by trip planning. I've saved time by doing it. I don't do it all the time myself. My wife gets on me for not doing it. We should trip plan. We should do this. No, we're all right. We're all right. I do it all the time. And, she gets mad at me for doing it because I think, no, I've got this, it's just a little trip, but sometimes that little trip turns into a big, huge trip. And you're like, oh man, if I would have just sat back for a minute and figured this out, we would have been all right.
Right. Like us, we're going from East Coast to West Coast right now, and I have no idea where we're going to stop, where we're going to fuel. I did not trip plan at all. Angie drove and she found this place and she got us a good spot, so we got lucky.
Well, yeah. Another good thing about trip planning too is you also look at the weather. Go to the Weather Channel,
Yes.
Go to AccuView Weather, all that stuff, so that when you're out there.
Find out all about the weather from her.
And when you're out there, let's say going across Wyoming, like Larry's going to be doing, you're not surprised because it's going to be windy. They're going to have, they could have, light trailer restrictions. It could be snowing because it's Wyoming.
Right.
And, it'd be snowing for no reason in July,
We had to stop there in Wyoming quite a few times because of the wind.
Yeah.
We just down.
And a lot of people go, well, I didn't know the storm was coming. Well, if you did your trip planning, you sure as hell would know that storm's coming.
Exactly, and that's exactly where I'm going with it. If you planned your trip, you would know what's ahead of you. Me and the wife, we always look if we're going. When we're going down the road, we're constantly checking the weather. Kind of like Larry and Ange do, because we like to know what we're getting into.
Oh yeah.
And by knowing what you're getting into, that's also planning your trip because okay, I've got some severe rainstorms coming up. All right, so I need to be careful. What's the comment there?
Sally Hansen says we plan our trips and do reserve parking, but weather plays a big role. We tried to stop 1 hour before the day is over. Had to drive 300 miles to find parking, stopped at 29 different spots. And but see, that's another thing too, Sally. You got to think out of the box. A lot of people say that there's no parking, that parking's getting scarce. But too many of us don't think out of the box. If you did, there's more places to park. There's, warehouses that are, abandoned or for sale. There's streets around that you can actually park on the street. A lot of people complain like out in Los Angeles or California in general that there's not a lot of places to park. And actually there is. You just got to think outside the box rather than just staying, with truck stops and rest areas and stuff like that. Because like me and the wife, we try to stay away from truck stops as much as possible because that's disaster.
I understand that, but some people like to stay in truck stops because of the bathrooms, so I do get that. But then, like Pat said, when you go into California, I know there's so many industrial areas in California where you can park on the street and nobody bothers you. The cops don't bother you. Industrial areas are all over the place, right off the freeways. You know,
Most
those
cities
are
have industrial areas.
plenty of industrial areas to go park in. You know, sometimes you don't get to. You know, you can't always get to the bathroom. You know, so you got to improvise, and that's planning ahead. You know, me and the wife, we have an actual camp porta potty for those situations, so that you know. If we know that we're going to be in an area where there is not a place to really park, we can park in a off in a parking lot somewhere that's abandoned, or we can park in an industrial area and we still have a restroom, we still have a refrigerator, we have plenty of food, so we can actually be self-sufficient. That's the key thing about trip planning and being out here, is you also got to be self-sufficient out here, because you're not always going to be able to get to a truck stop. And the more self-sufficient you can be, the better your trip planning is going to be, because they both work hand in hand.
Right. We got a comment from a Brooklyn Lynn Rogers that says that and when planning your trip ahead of time, if you know where you're headed, you can reserve spots. If you know you'll be arriving late at night. And see, when you reserve that spot, that's your spot till you actually get there. Because because you already paid for it. So
right. Yep. And it stays until and that spot doesn't get reserved to anybody else until you've done used it, until it's up.
That's right.
And pull in, and all the reserves are taken, and you have paid for it. You just go in, and they'll find out who's not supposed to be there, and they will kick them out.
Oh,
right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Mr. Robert Bob Wolkowitz says, you always plan to take plenty of supplies, food, water, different types of clothing, and plenty of blankets and sheets. Always think ahead. 1 minute you could be in shorts and then heavy clothing. And that's absolutely right. I mean, and that's why I tell Heather, we need to have enough food on there that lasts a couple days, because I mean, for instance, I was out in Rawlins, Wyoming, Laramie. I think it was Laramie. And by the Petro and the Pilot and all that. And we got stuck out there for 3 days because they had 80 closed, and you couldn't get over it. You couldn't go the back way into Loveland. You couldn't do nothing. And
that's Laramie. Yep.
Yeah, we were stuck, right on the exit for the Petro for 3 days.
Yeah. But you planned ahead, and you had enough food, and you had blankets, and yep.
And it was winter time, so we never let the truck get under half.
Right.
Yes.
Let's see. Don Nadim says, how much does reserve spots cost the drivers? Well,
it actually depends on what time of day you get there and where you're at.
Oh, yeah.
They're in, like
Jersey, sky high.
Yeah, if you come to like Petro here in Atlanta, it's like $18.
Oh, yeah.
To reserve a spot.
Oh, yeah.
But then you could go to a Petro. Say that. What, Larry?
I was gonna say, every time you fill up, you get points. So
right, and you can use your points.
And then it won't cost any money except for your points.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's something that they kind of just started in the last couple of years, and I don't agree with them. Because I mean, you'll go to some truck stops that'll have 100 spots. A Pilot, Flying J, one of them, and 75 of the damn slots are all reserved.
Right.
And they're empty, but they're all reserved. But a lot of drivers don't have $12 or $15 extra to pay for this, because they're living paycheck to paycheck trying to feed a family back home. And, and I don't agree with it. I try to stay away from those truck stops because, you got Love's, you got mom and pops places still out there that don't charge. And, they're already screwing us with overpriced stuff in the stores and overpriced fuel, and then now they want to charge us to park, which when I first started, they never charged you to park. And when that started, I was like, you've got to be kidding. And they don't care. They could care less.
There's been times where Angie and I are just stopped for a few hours, and we'll pull into a reserve spot. And if we're there longer, they'll kick us out. And we're like, all right, we're ready to go anyway.
Yeah, they'll during the day, if you pull into a reserve spot during the day, they don't usually say anything till about 3:00 in the afternoon, because that's when everybody starts pulling in. So if you pull into one around noon, you stay till 3 or 4. They come over and ask you, hey, can you leave?
They usually won't say anything until they're all full, until the person that bought one is there.
Right.
Usually 11 o'clock at night.
Right.
It starts getting.
Follow-up question from Dawn. Does companies reimburse the drivers for that convenience? Some do, some don't.
I would say
I've never heard of
probably 75% of the companies won't reimburse a driver for it.
Right. Now there are companies that have it on the driver's fuel card to
Yes.
pay for it.
Yes.
But then there's a whole lot that don't. Some companies like Petro in Bordentown, New Jersey, of which Larry and Angie were just in, they make you get $25, spend $25 inside the store in order and they were one of the first that started the paid parking. I think it was Baltimore, TA.
Yes.
And then there was
I don't mind that. I like that actually.
And then a couple out in LA, most of the
Parking,
Petro out there.
What was that, Larry?
Then we're gonna get charged for parking. At least you can buy stuff because you're gonna go in there and have something to eat, or you're gonna fuel or something,
Yes.
and that goes towards your paid parking, which is I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with paying for parking like that. I do have a hard time with some of these places. Like the other night, I was in a TA, and pretty much every spot was reserved. And I'm like, are you guys, what? How is somebody supposed to, park then? And some reserved spots, I think they should make, at least half of the spots reserved if you're going to do that, and half of them non-reserved.
Right.
That way you've got a little bit of everything. You got half and half, so you're not forcing a driver to park in the reserved. And then these drivers that are tired that come in and are tired and they need to get off because their 10 hours is up. So they pull in a reserve thinking, okay, yeah, this looks like an open spot, because you can barely read the reserve on the front of it. You can't tell. So you pull in there, and then, 3 hours into your sleep, you get a knock on the door. Hey, you got to move. This is reserved. Where do you expect the driver to go?
And here's the crappy part too. All the spots that are reserved are flat spots.
Yep.
All the ones that aren't reserved are sitting like this at an angle toward the driver's head. And it's like,
Roll out of bed.
And that there is why trip planning, one of the reasons trip planning is such a good idea and very important to do, is so you don't have to deal with that kind of a situation. So you don't put yourself in a situation that you're not in. And if you don't create that situation, you're not putting yourself in that situation. So if you trip plan, you don't have that situation.
Yeah, that would be pretty important for a solo driver.
What, Larry?
To trip plan, a solo driver doing that would be pretty important.
Very, very smart for a solo driver. Us teams, it's easier for us teams because we roll 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And then you get a solo driver. A solo driver trip planning is a must, I think. I think too many people don't trip plan, to be honest with you.
No, you're right. They don't. And they just get in, go when their time's up. They start searching for a spot. Then they don't have a spot. And then they have to go over. And then, now, Sally Hansen says our best discount for fuel is Flying J Pilot, so get points. A lot of companies think that the Pilot Flying J's are good for stuff like that. But I think that when it comes to driver rewards, the best one out there is the Loves. I think
is the Loves by far,
by far, hands down. I think that's and a lot of companies are starting to move away from the Pilot Flying J's, even for their discounts, and go to Loves because for one reason or another and stuff like that. So, Well, guys, we're getting ready to come to the end of the show here. It is 9:00, and yeah,
We used to go to Love's when we were with Ground, and I like the points from there. But now, I guess TA and Petro, they give the companies a bigger discount now. So
yeah,
a lot of the companies are wanting to go to TA and Petro,
right.
which they don't give us too much points for that.
Yeah, you don't get a lot of points at the TA or Petro. The best points you get is at Love's, and Love's is always doing the points bonus where you get extra points each. Every couple months they do that where where TA and the Pilot and the Petro they never do that.
Well,
They
the
never do it
Pilot
at all.
J now is doing the 4 points, but see the thing about it, what is different about theirs and what's different, Love's bases theirs off of every gallon you get. Okay, gallon amounts. Pilot Flying J is basing theirs off of qualifying gallons. So if you only get 50 gallons, well, that's not a qualifying that's not a qualifying fill up. So that's not going to move you up in the tier. Which over at Love's, that will move you up in the tier because it's getting you that gallon amount. And
Exactly.
yeah, and that's why
I
think Love's
showers also. So
Love's has
has
cleaner showers.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
But-
the Love showers are huge. They are so big now.
But well, guys, we're coming to the end here. Any closing remarks? Start with Johnny.
Hold on, I hear a cricket.
All right.
No, I jumped in a little bit late, folks, because I was busy today and was having a little bit of technical issues. That's what happens when you're old and you have a new phone and trying to figure it out. But I guess, I'll touch on what Pat touched on about recruiting. You really gotta watch what you're doing, guys. Read every little piece of paper they give you. Ask questions. Never be afraid to ask questions.
Yep.
Questions are the key thing to finding out what you want to know when it comes to recruiting, because recruiting will tell you whatever you want. But if you fire back at them and ask them questions that you want to know, now you're making them answer your questions and tell you the truth.
Yeah. Don't let them control the conversation.
Exactly.
You control it.
Because it's your livelihood out there on the truck, not theirs. You're making them money. So they don't care.
Right.
As long as they're making their money, you know what? We've got other drivers to fill your seat if you don't like what you're doing. But if you ask the right questions, you'll get the right answers and you'll get what you deserve. Trip planning is a very, 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 I think it's very important to do. I don't remember what Larry talked about. What did you talk about wrong way, Larry? Hours of service? So see, hours of service goes along with the trip planning. So you want to make sure that you trip plan to manage and utilize your hours of service to your best advantages.
Right.
And that is, don't be afraid to talk to other recruiters too. If you're not happy with the recruiter you're talking to right then and there, go to another one.
Right.
Plenty of recruiters out there, and if you don't like their answer, go to another one.
Right, because if you let them, they will lie to you. They will blatantly do it. And then they'll just say, well, you should have done your homework better. So with that, guys, just want to say
I have to find out how to get comments
yes.
on my phone. So
Okay, fine.
I can read some comments next week. I don't like this not being able to see comments. I like to interact with everybody.
Well, with that, I'm going to say make sure to like, follow, and share, not just this one, but the other ones out there. Check out Heather and I's The Misadventures of Pat and Heather, along with Married to the Road and Living, Loving, Trucking.
Yes.
Check out all those.
Make sure you come over and watch the Divas. They got a really awesome show. A bunch of really strong women there that us men really support and back 100%. So yeah, make sure you come out and
we
watch them.
also don't interrupt. Oh, sorry.
And I would like to say a quick shout out to Ange. Ange does a treat a trucker, folks, and it's really dear to her heart. Something
Yep.
that she is really
Yep.
strong about. And what it is, we try to get gift cards for Subway or McDonald's or something like that, and we try to hand them out to different truckers just to show our appreciation and say thanks to what you do and your sacrifice. See, Larry's got some gift cards right there, folks. So any little donation to help out with that cause, is really appreciated. We hope that y'all come on here and check it out. It's actually a really good thing what Ange is doing. Yeah.
Check us out next week on the Misadventures. We've got 5 cards that we're going to be giving out next week during Trucker Appreciation Week, which starts next week. So keep an eye out for that. So
and Brooklyn Rogers says that Johnny and I use loves 50% of the time. That is so
90.
very true.
Put your glasses
90?
on.
Oh yeah, I don't have my. Hold on. I got my glasses on now. Oh yeah, 90% of the time.
Well, let me do this real quick, and then we'll come back and say bye. So hold on.
Visit Trucker Safety Divas. Find us on Facebook. We're an all-women's live trekking show hosted every Saturday night at 7 p.m. Central. Hosted by your host, Angela Baum, who is a FedEx truck driver and creator of Trucker Safety Divas, Angela Clark, a flatbed truck driver from Miami, Florida, and our third host, Brooklyn Rogers, a truck driver out of Texas. Join us every Saturday night, 7 p.m. for trucker safety info and all kinds of information.
All right. So again, thanks guys for tuning in. Johnny,
we have another team coming up.
Oh, we do. Who do we got?
We got the Underwoods, rolling with the Underwoods.
Rolling with the Underwoods. That's right.
Rolling with the Underwoods. Nice.
Yeah, they'll be coming to our platform very soon. Good platform.
And then keep an eye out for I think South Florida Pink Panther, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can check. Keep an eye out.
It'll be her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Check out all those guys there. Show them love. And show all of us love, because we could not do this without you, the viewers. And we do appreciate all of you guys. And we will be seeing you guys next Friday.
Next Friday, folks.
So
come join us.
Not the same time though.
No, not the same time. 7 o'clock.
Different times, same channel.
Same
crazy faces.
All right, guys. Everybody, I love you. Be safe out there. And sorry I didn't see any of your comments. I'm going to work on that.
All right, guys. Be careful. Peace. We're out.
Peace.